Alright, all you listeners to the madness still trying to get over that hump for this midweek, welcome back to Under the Radar. And I still can't believe a couple of you out there online, and it's a select few, who thought, oh man, Under the Radar didn't come out on Monday, he's not going to do it. And I rebuttal with, don't you fret your little head. Madness will always be there for you, no matter what week or part of the week it's on. Trust me, we will bring madness to you whether it's on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, or dare do it be on Saturday or Sunday, because we still don't want to get sued by Leonard Skinner on Saturday, and I think there was something for Sunday too, but I keep forgetting what it was, but I digress. Because now it's time for us to explain to you fans at home why in the world this show is in the middle of the week anyway for another edition of the Midweek Madness. And for some strange reason, I'm hearing that, the intro theme they would have for Eyewitness News for this part of the show. Don't know why. I must be going insane. Well, besides that, folks, the reason why in the world this show is taking place in the middle of the week is from what happened this past weekend. And it was a series of crazy things that happened all at once. First off, I get, woken up after doing a late night show for Music Village and, listening back to the old episodes and having a little bit of a chuckle party with the maestro and Dan the Weatherman Stu, who came over to watch the shows. Next thing I know, I get a call, somebody ringing me up on the phone telling me, hey, my car is broken down. So apparently I've become a repairman of sorts, or a mechanic or roadside assistance, had to go out, drive, help my cousin get her car out of the parking garage of the hospital. And actually it was my aunt. Thank you, maestro. Helped my aunt get her car out of the parking garage because it had a flat tire on the third floor up. After that little bit of an event, my brother told me my sister was in town, which I completely forgot about. And she went over to my cousin's house, who is the coolest cousin I have in my family thus far that I know of, and would go over there about at 4, 5, 6 o'clock? No, wait. According to what the maestro said, we went over there about at 5:15, and when we got there, not only we were able to see our mom, our sister, and our brother in the same place at the same time for the first time in eons, we were able to talk about a couple of things, reminisce about the old days of how things was way back when, and not to mention had an experience to see my cousin's big dogs and cat. And the cat that refused to get off my pants because it was comfortable. And mind you, these pants were one of the military pants I had when I was a kid, and it was clawing into the pants. So I screamed help, and my sister, being Dr. Doolittle Part 8, decided to get the cat off my pants. Yeah, that's something I would admit on the air. And that would all lead to my sister and my mom saying, we gotta hit the road, we gotta get to Atlantic City, she's up here for Atlantic City, so we're gonna head out. And then next thing you know, my cousin said, hey, why don't you go with them? I was like, what? Wait a minute, I got a show to finish for tomorrow. I got to do the Indie Radio Arcade. And they said, well, bring your equipment with you. Why don't you do it on the road? And I said, Atlantic City edition of the Indie Radio Arcade. Sounds cool. You know what? Why not? And my brother decided to be the nice guy he is, gave me a little bit of money to go down to Atlantic City with my sister and my mom, and at the same time, whilst trying to go back to Music Village headquarters to remove the microphone off the giant stand we have here, the microphone would get stuck, and unfortunately we wouldn't be able to bring our equipment out, and we just decided to just take overnight clothes and just swing on down to Atlantic City. A 2.25-hour ride to Atlantic City, filled with hilariness, if that's such a word, comedy if you will, and not to mention the soothing sounds of Styx with their song Mr. Roboto at the halfway mark. And not to mention laughing with my sister about the last time we came down here, where we almost ended up swerving off the side of the road on a bus after the driver had a diabetic episode of sorts. Yeah, that's what my mom said it eventually was. And after that would go down, next thing you know, once we finally got there to Atlantic City, it was windy, it was rainy. We couldn't go on the boardwalk. It was like at 10:45 by the time we got down there. Wait, scratch that. According to the maestro, 9:45. But my mom and me decided to walk the streets because she wanted to get a pack of cigarettes, and we figured out the price of inflation in Atlantic City for cigarettes. Because not only there were upwards of 11 to 10 to somewhat $9 each, we also managed to figure out that all the stuff that we would regularly get here in North Jersey would be multiplied by 2. So for a drink that you would get that would be one of those small drinks in those containers, instead of being $1, it would be 2. Instead of being $1.50, it would be 3. And yeah, the whole trip we were talking about how expensive some of the stuff was down there. And not only that, as we told you on the Indie Radio Arcade, we also went on the boardwalk, finally got in an arcade machine with my sister and, blasted a whole bunch of dinosaurs in Jurassic Park. Even had the chance to watch 2 of the weirdest movies known to man, including Midsommar and The Kitchen. Now, The Kitchen was an interesting movie, but a little bit of a miss on my behalf, and Midsommar was probably one of the weirdest installments of The Wicker Man I think I've seen to date, which says a lot. And I've seen a lot of weird horror movies in my life, but that one, I got a feeling, takes the cake. And yes, we will be reviewing that movie in the near future, no matter how crazy it is. And after spending 2 days there, getting the best sleep I could possibly imagine, and laughing alongside with my sister for the first time in 3 years, when it came to finally get back home and head back to Music Village headquarters and set up the microphone and get everything to bring madness to you fans out there. Unfortunately, when we got in, it was around, 6:14, 6:17 on the dot, because we had a clock here telling us what time it was when we got back. All of a sudden, we booted up the computer, we were ready to do Under the Radar, and then we saw a file there that said Indie Radio Arcade. And I said, do I really want to push the show back for the Indie Radio Arcade any further and then have the show almost run into the other one we're going to do before the end of the month? No, I don't. So we decided to do the Indie Radio Arcade first, and then decide to push Under the Radar and whatever sort of screenshots and whatnots that we had, just gather them up throughout the rest of this week from Saturday onward and bring it to you, the fans at home, to get you over that hump and that, trek that you have to take to make your way to Thursday, Friday, and directly into the weekend. So yeah, long story short, that's how Under the Radar ended up in the middle of the week. And possibly one of the most craziest last-minute fly out of town as quickly as possible, like Kurt Russell and Escape from LA sort of moments that I've ever done in my life. Would I do it again, if you ask? Yes, I possibly would. And not to mention, one of the things we almost forgot to include in this story, that when I went down there, I didn't win a thing, but my sister and my mom would end up winning one would win 20, and the other one would win $40 to $60 on the slots. Proving that I still have no luck when I go down there with them to Atlantic City. Perfect. And with all of that said, and everybody up to speed of why in the world all the shows are discombobulated like all hell, I think it's time for us to go back into our regularly scheduled programming when Under the Radar continues with a little hint of yesterday's news right after this. So don't go anywhere just yet, folks, and stay tuned.